Scott, what did they access here, and how do we know it was China?
Yeah, this is, first of all, a huge breach. A lot of it, they look at what happened last year. If you remember the embarrassing breach that happened last year, this breach pattern's very similar. The method, what the information they got, but this one's even far more devastating in that they got so much information. In fact, it's believed that they got a form that's really used for security background checks, an SF-86 form, and that details all kinds of personal information that one would have to fill out, more than just information about the person, but also who you know, your spouse, your friends, salary, as you mentioned, social security number, address, the list goes on and on. There's some 700 plus fields on that security clearance form for background checks, and it's believed that they got that information on federal employees. So devastating amount of information. And again, it's believed that, again, China is at the root of this to gather that information.
And China's denying it, but at this point, from the reports I've seen, they're pretty sure it was China. So gathering all this intel, especially on contractors and federal employees, if you were to speculate, why would China want that kind of information? What would they use something like that for?
Well, certainly they could easily now try to contact and try to convert some of these either former federal employees or even current ones, and then use that against the United States for espionage, for stealing information, for compromising certain secrets in certain departments. So it could be very focused attacks that they're trying to do. Very scary.
That's what scares me as well. We know that China's been an aggressor in the region. Most people won't point that out, but what they're doing right now in the South China Sea all the way to cybersecurity, they are the nation to watch. Why would they want this kind of information, especially on our federal employees? Of course, this is a way for them to use it for future espionage activities. But as I mentioned in the opening here, the fears don't end with China, because China can also share this information with other nations like, I don't know, North Korea, Pakistan. What are the chances that this information gets spread to other actors that we aren't friendly with?
Oh, that's an excellent point. Highly likely that they do share, because you've got allies there to China. You've got North Korea right there. And we already know from other attacks that North Korea, we believed, have actually been based out of China, because any of the information through the big data, the channel, the pipe, goes through China for anything attacks that originate from North Korea, because they're working out of China. So you know that they're working closely there as allies, and that's extremely dangerous, sharing, trading, and even selling this information. And to Pakistan is certainly possible, but even more likely, I think, North Korea.
And we know how friendly we are with North Korea. My goodness, that's what we need to be keeping an eye on here. It seems like the United States as a whole, we talk about cybersecurity over and over again, how we need to beef it up, but I've seen these hacks happen more frequently now. I'm also seeing them going undetected, or at least unacknowledged, for months at a time. Why does it take so long for them to detect these things?
Yeah, that part is what really gets me. We're talking here over 4 months for the administration just to report what happened. Part of the reason is they don't fully appreciate or understand the extent. There is not enough manpower and computing power that's working behind the scenes to early detect and thwart these attacks. So it's a huge challenge that they have, but they really need to let people know much sooner than waiting months. That could be catastrophic. This is like a cyber war. They need to react much quicker, build up the manpower and the computing power for advanced detection for these early threats, and let people know about it.
We see this time and time again, whether it's they can't find emails, servers crash, and it seems to be, I'm sorry, but it's under the Obama administration. Why do they take so long to acknowledge it? Well, because it makes them look bad. Of course, that's the root of all of this, but I want to go back to the place that they hack, which is the OPM, the Office of Personnel Management here, because some articles I've read said that this was decades in the making. They had IT specialists working there that had no computer experience. They failed several audits. Is this part of the problem here, the bureaucracy, the agencies themselves not taking cybersecurity seriously?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say that they're not taking it seriously, but where are the vulnerabilities? Certainly it's with that group there, more so than, imagine if they targeted the Pentagon or if they targeted NSA. That would be a much more difficult hack. So they're going for the low-hung fruit, the easier hack, and they've got legacy systems, as you mentioned. They failed security audits. They're not implementing best practices across the board for such a large department, managing so much sensitive data. That's where they're going to go, and that's where they're going to get the most hit, the most bang for their buck, and they really did in this case.